Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely fantabulous experts the world over with incredible backgrounds, amazing insights. And we're fortunate for a small show that's only hit 2,200 subscribers lately. We have just huge footprint when it comes to amazing guests. We've had the youngest Delta Force operator ever admitted to Delta Force, a White House physician to the US president, amazing, well-known worldwide healers, New York Times best-selling authors, physicians, let me think. We had Dr. Eben Alexander on, tons of near-death experience folks, and just an incredible caliber of super nice people who are willing to share their path, a unique life path, some sort of transformative journey usually, in which they've decided they're going to turn around and give service to others, which is pretty much the highest calling. Today, no exception, coming to us from Kauai in Hawaii, John Burgos, and I've got to just do a shout out for him. He didn't know this was coming, but he's super smooth, super talented at the intuitive level, has definitely dedicated his life to helping others. Watch what's coming out from him on the creative front in the years ahead. I don't want to say much more than that. We'll see what he shares on the show. He's also show host of Beyond the Ordinary show, which people should be checking out and subscribing. John, welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love.
What a great introduction. Thank you for that. It's great to be here.
Hey, look, you've got a vibe about you, but it wasn't always this way, or maybe it was when you were a kid, but you've had talents, if you want to call it spiritual or intuitive or connection to the universe. What's the best way you can kind of take us through the way it all kind of came about?
Wow, that connection was always there. And I've had glimpses of it while I was growing up. Of course, very empathic and sensitive, like most of us are that are tuned into these type of communities. I had a visitation when I was 9 years old at my grandfather's funeral of an energy that was swirling in this majestic royal velvet purple color, that had me fall to my knees weeping at 9 years old because of the grace and the beauty and the luminosity that was coming through, that I recognized as Mother Mary. Growing up very Catholic, that resonated for me, but her presence was so felt. And having grown up in a very tumultuous atmosphere, the message that I heard during that time and what she cloaked me in, was, I will always be here with you and you'll always be safe. And my whole life, no matter what was happening, that safety, the awareness of that has guided everything that I do, has empowered decisions that I've made that could have seemed tough, but innately somehow it's imprinted in me that I know who walks next to me in this way. And so that came in profoundly. I started having even more intuitive gifts that I didn't know what to do with. I would have prophetic dreams about people that were going to be passing away, things that were going to happen a year to 18 years from then, that would eventually come true almost to the date. And I mostly kept it to myself because, not that I was ashamed of it, but it felt like it was just an intimate conversation between me and whatever was providing this to me. It didn't, I didn't have the wherewithal or an environment that'll tell me, hey, let's develop these gifts or tell us more about these conversations. So it was very much a solo journey, which is perfect as I realize it. And then around 38, 40 years old, it's like the dam cracked open, and the capacity to see, feel, to hear messages, for guides to come in, just started flooding in. And my whole life did a 180, and living in the suburbs, doing the 9 to 5 or my entrepreneurial things on the side just weren't satisfying. I knew that there was something more than just consuming. I knew that there was something more than just coexisting and hanging out with beautiful people on the weekends, but we all felt like we were just spinning in the same hamster wheel, and something bigger called. And so I followed that calling, and I got worked in the most beautiful way. Um, and here I am some 15 years later, um, with a connection to the divine that I couldn't have explained even 5 years ago. living in a place that would have been only something in a dream of a dream, experiencing connections that feel like home in a way that I've never felt home before, where I always felt like I was an outsider. Actually feeling like I'm co-creating with others that not only get me, but that are really in service in a very similar way. So it's been a journey of lifetimes coming together. And it feels like I'm like in this lifetime, I'm finally getting to cash in my Dharma chips of all those other lifetimes of service.
I like it. We're going to get to your future projects or what you might be working on, but let's go back to the suburbs. Can you share a couple moments? Was it dream time in the shower, walking the dog, driving to work? When did a few pivotal moments happen where you had a aha, a realization, or spirit, the universe, energy came in and something happened?
I have so many of those. Where do I begin? Um, I can tell you one that saved my life. Every morning I'd drive to the gym and it'd be about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd go to the gym for about an hour, and the sunset was starting to come up. I'd go for a run at this reservoir, this amazing lake. And to get to the reservoir, we had to cross this major interstate highway. That was an open road, and it's a T going into the road to the reservoir. And I'm hanging out in my car just waiting for the light to change. It's dark outside, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the light to change, and all of a sudden, I'm wearing a baseball cap. It flips off my head randomly. And so I reach back, I'm going back, reaching for the hat. I turn around and my hand's on the steering. When I see the lights turning green already, I was like, I'm going to get my hat first. And I wait a good 5 seconds while I find my hat. As I pull my hat up and I'm about to hit the gas to go forward, a semi truck must have been going 70 miles an hour, whizzes, ran the red light way late. Had I gone when I was supposed to normally go, I would not have survived that impact. And in that moment, I knew exactly who it was that came in spirit. And it was my grandmother. I felt her. I felt her so strongly. My maternal grandmother that passed away when I was 9 years old, who I have felt as a guide for me, more profoundly after I woke, quote unquote, woke up in my 40s. I felt as she was always someone that was there with me, guiding me, supporting me. But I knew in that instant, before I had this waking up moment, that it was she who flipped that hat off my head. It was amazing.
Before I ask for another one of those, let's just go to the biggest picture these days. If growth expansion never stopped, and we could talk in terms of anybody's career out there or athletic prowess. We certainly all can relate to that, or our cooking skills in the kitchen or our yoga skills. There are certain plateaus and then growth, plateau and growth. You've gone through a lot of expansion. What would you say you're going through right now in terms, are you in a reboot? Are you in a propelling forward moment? How do you describe this current life stage? And do you think it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or is this a longer stretch of fulfillment and abundance?
That is such a great question. Um, I can tell you that it's daily. It's day by day by day. And that's the energy of expansion that we're in, where the projection of the future can only really be determined by how we show up today. And it's an expansion of redefinition. And I have to redefine myself as best that I can with the highest potential that I see myself in today, and do whatever I can to actualize that, whether that means taking a nap because I'm tired and I need to reacclimate to the energies that are coming in. If that means I'm responding to emails and dealing with bank accounts and web servers, if that means if I'm in meditation with my guides or I'm with my partner out at the beach, it's really listening to what's guiding, because all these things that we're doing are so much bigger than what we can see. But there's a redefinition that's coming in. It's a whole new platform in getting to know myself, taking the history of who I have become up to today, allowing that to be what has molded this current moment, and allowing something new to emerge tomorrow. I can see the forward progression of the possibility of what that is as different projects are taking shape and different things want to land in, but none of those are certain because as I'm redefining myself, all those trajectories and timelines can change. But I know what they feel like, I know what they're calling in. But at the same time, what's so beautiful about these particular circumstances that I don't have the expectations of what they have to be like I used to in the past. Those things are not where defining me. It's today that's defining me. And because I know that those things can change, and because those things can change based on what I see and the integrity that I carry within myself, it's either going to be that or something even more expansive that is so in alignment on my own unique path. I think the world's going through all of this. The history is not repeating itself. We're taking everything that has accumulated and built us up to now, and we're getting to utilize all of those building materials to create something unlike ever before.
Okay, and we are going back into the past for another one of those. We can't call it a war story. You're not a Vietnam soldier or vet talking about the past. Peace story. But before we do, in July, can you give us one example of a moment of levity, humor, joy, or where you had to use some patience and then everything made sense later? One of those synchronicities, serendipities, or a business thing. You know, everyone said blue, you thought blue, you got to July 15th and then it changed color. And you're like, all right, well, this project is now going to be that color.
Yeah, there's a big project that I'm working on. It's an excursion that we're doing into Egypt. And it's been guided. I tell people I'm taking dictation from God and I'm just following instructions because it's not me. And I have amazing partners that have been creating this with me as well. And we have a film crew coming in. It's supposed to be documented so that we can pitch them to big production companies because the energy, the essence of the message is to be received for people who are open and ready and willing uh, to consume, to be in a field with the unity consciousness that we're offering in everything that we do. And so everything is in alignment with that. And there was one of the leaders who was an amazing human being, so much knowledge, so much light, and he fell out of the field of this project that we were creating. Um, and it was a little bit confusing at first because it's what's happening? Why is it happening? It's like this felt like an alignment. But as I dropped just into the stillness, it's again, this thing that we're creating is bigger than any one of us. And if something wasn't in alignment with that particular message that we're devoted to, in the way that it's being held together, then certain things were just going to fall apart. And so the letting go of something that was a surprise, but not a surprise, so that the project can redefine itself in a new way, brought in new people, brought in a different opportunity for the type of film crew and production companies that were putting into that otherwise wouldn't have presented itself. As there's an alignment that really came in that lightened the load of the project that already felt amazing, but until that shifted, I couldn't really tell how much lighter it could actually get. So I'm just an awareness of the things that are being redefined and altered as we create different things that are really serving us. I really strongly know that we're co-creating with forces unseen that are helping us to be of service, but are also that want to gift us an experience in this embodied human journey that we're on so that we can personally experience that joy, that expansion, the awe, the wonder um, that's available for us.
Love it. Okay, back to when you were younger, suburbs. Talk to us about one of those other moments where something happened and you were like, wow.
Do you want a positive or an alteration when I was younger. Let me go back to when I got married. So I was married when I was 23 years old. My fiance, my wife was 22. We're super young, so in love. Uh, Amazing. We had planned that we knew each other 6 months and got engaged and got married 6 months later. Had a beautiful wedding. Had family that traveled from Columbia, South America to come to the wedding in Houston, Texas. I had people coming from Florida, from New York, from all over the place. She had family from Louisiana. It was a big party that we had together. The ceremony was beautiful. It was July in Houston. We dared to have an outdoor wedding, and it was the coolest July that Houston had had in 15 years. And so it was absolutely gorgeous outside. Everything was just lining up. It was absolutely so beautiful to be there, and you can just feel just what was in the air and the celebration of that union. Um, it was amazing. And we got to the reception hall. We were having a great party. My relatives drank so much alcohol that the restaurant had to go out to pick up more bottles of wine and beer and alcohol. It was a party. Um, a few hours into the reception, I get these chills and I start getting like this panic attack. I broke out in a cold sweat walking from one end of the reception restaurant to the other. It's like, what's happening? And I hear a voice come to me, speaking directly into my ear. Go find a room to sit down in by yourself. Like, I think I'm going to listen to this voice. So I looked around and went into the back of the restaurant, and there's a sign, manager's office, and nobody was in there. I opened the doors, lights were off. So clicked the lights open, walked in the room, closed the door behind me. There's this big leatherback chair that was immediately available. So I sat down, took a deep breath. Who is this? And I hear this voice. It says, you're going to be married 18 years. It's like, wait, who is this? And why I knew how to ask who is this, I don't know, but I was very composed because I wasn't in this realms like we are right now. Um, who is this? And I just hear, you're going to be married 18 years. It's like, what do you want me to do? Get an annulment? What's supposed to happen? And then the voice just subsided. I could feel the energy leaving, the anxiety just calmed down, the shaking, the nervousness just, it's swooped away, and went back to the reception. Nothing ever came up again, and never heard another voice. Um, and then things started rolling around about 15 years, 17 years. I asked for the separation, which I knew was absolutely the end of the marriage. Um, I asked for the separation when we were driving home from a family reunion from Louisiana back to Texas. Um, it was a week before our 18-year anniversary. And it was just spot on. And that was profound. It was a huge shift in my life, but that connection and the vision was incredible. I had something similar happen to me when I went into a long-term relationship, and in our third date, she has cancer. It's like, okay, and what do you want me to do with that? Just for you to know, if you choose to enter into a relationship, because it will become one, um, you just need to be aware that she has cancer, and you can choose not to, or you can choose to. And like, well, if I fall in love with her and all that, it doesn't matter. It's like, man, a year and a half into the relationship, we discovered the cancer, and it was a road. Yeah, it was actually quite traumatic in a lot of ways, and miraculous in a lot of ways also. But that voice came in again. It's like, there it is. We're just going to tell you that timeline and what's happening, and how different things are evolving. And the message was loud, clear, and it's just undeniable.
What can you do to remind people how they can go full stop right now? What would be your best bits of advice? I'll buy you 5 seconds. I would say slow down, take a breath, listen. So I stole the simplest formula. That was from Archangel Michael. But what's your advice for folks who might be in a pinch, a pickle, a bind? Welcome to being human. That's all of us. Wait a week if it's all going smooth. What's your advice for, maybe it's daily, it's weekly? How do we pay attention more?
I think it is imperative especially in the energies that we're in right now, that we actually take the time to be still, not still listening to music, listening to someone's guided meditation, but really in the stillness, and to use a prompt to bring us back into that stillness. One that I'm working with a lot of people lately is, and this was actually taught to me by someone else as a code to receiving messages. So I'll give everybody the first code. Um, it's a mantra. I'm a pillar of cosmic light. And just say that. And as you hold that for a little bit before you go into your meditation, the goal in your meditation is to just be still, to be quiet. If any thought comes in, I'm a pillar of cosmic light. It's the only thing to interrupt the thought. If a lot of thoughts are coming in, if you're sitting with your palms up, flip your left hand over and flip it back. It interrupts the brain pattern and puts you back into that state. It's time that we know ourselves like we haven't taken the time to know ourselves. It's time to listen to that voice that is within. We say that we go out to receive messages, but truly we're going within to receive ourselves. And it's that intimacy of ourselves that allows the threads of communication to open for us to be in the receptivity of the intimacy of the most precious thing that we want to experience, which is love from ourselves, but also love from the divine expressed in the multiple of ways in which it shows up, whether it's me being on this call with you, hugging and being with my partner, laughing with my daughters, whatever those expressions are, they get manifest as an outside mirror, but we get to amplify that and we get to know that by knowing ourselves first, amplifying the divine, the God that is within us that we've denied for too long, that we've ignored, that we haven't taken the time to be with. And it's imperative. It's imperative for the time that we're in now, where we're heading, what we're creating, and the thoughts that we're having based on what we perceive is happening around the world. If you want to dig into the bad things that are happening, be aware of the mirror that's going to show up around. What do you want to be an agent for? And focus your energy and your thoughts, your emotions, and your creativity on that. And that's going to really serve you for so many years coming ahead.
Mother Teresa once said, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And let's flip that pancake again. If you love people, you've got no time to judge them, or did I just do it the other way around? But anyhow, the bottom line is you got two different flows that most of us are too busy. We're doing the rat race, which isn't an external banking system or a corporation or this country or that country. It's just our own thinking. It's not going away. It's a little bit of spinning. Again, welcome to being human. But can you describe the different flows and again, tackle it from another direction? If it's awareness, timelessness, no limits, unconditional love, possibility, consciousness, I'm out of synonyms there. But this is fear, worry, rejecting, resisting, reacting, you name it, judging to the preclusion of possibility, which seems to be the big currency of mankind these days. What's the other, or the knowing that precludes possibility? There's a knowing that's more universal that's here. Sometimes it comes from experience. What's this all about again? How's one a hot stove and how's the other every important moment in life?
Well, I would tell you that the spinning that we're experiencing happens at both ends of the pendulum, and it's just attuning to that. So our body and our minds, our chemistry does not know the difference between the chaos of the fear of repeating something from the past or being annihilated by war or devastation or being harmed by another or verbally abused or being destitute financially or whatever it is. It does not know the difference between the fear of that and the fear of the unknown, the fear of stepping into something that we don't know how it's going to define us. We don't know how it's going to support us. You're asking me to have faith. Well, what does that mean? And I can be killed. I can be annihilated. I don't know what war is going to be created there. And so we get into this place where we can't distinguish between the two sometimes, especially as huge as the expansionary energies are right now, because they're really stretching us beyond bounds that we have ever known before. So what we need to do is bring that pendulum into the middle take that deep breath and just get really sober. What's really happening? What am I really afraid of at this moment? And you can get the first answer, but I can tell you that's going to be the superficial answer. You get the second answer, and that's going to be, okay, I'm getting to know you a little bit better. Second date, third date, right? But you want to make love with yourself. You want to go in and really get to know yourself that intimately and go down to the root. It's like, what is really running the show down there? Well, I'm afraid everything's going to be taken away from me. If I take that chance, I'm afraid everything's going to be taken away from me. Oh, I'm afraid no one's going to love me for who I am if I really show who I am. Or if I really show who I am, I'm afraid I'm going to destroy something because I'm that powerful. Oh, if I'm going to be everything that I am, I'm going to leave everybody else so far behind because I am so powerful that I'll destroy my own reality. And so get into tune of the fears that are really a few levels down, and to have a conversation and just an awareness of where those originate from, and then bring them back into reality. But who am I today, really? What abundance do I have in my life right this second, in the now? And I guarantee you, you have your breath. If you're listening to this, you've got internet service in a computer. You've got somewhere that you have some type of shelter and warmth that you're most likely listening to. The fears that we have from our perspective here in the champagne world that we truly live in, and all the opportunities that we've been given, are first world problems. And if we're allowing the fear of that to be taken away, we're really eliminating the opportunity that we have to create. Because what are we holding on to? Nothing. I'm holding on to, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to wear my designer shirt. And now I'm going to have to wear something from Walmart instead. And that's going to suck. And I'm so afraid of that. I mean, that's the real fear. I'm afraid that, okay, my rent's going to be taken away. I'm not going to have money and I'm going to have to ask a friend to couch surf. I can't have that. That's too scary. I'm going to lose my identification of how I've created myself to be. And I'm afraid that these material things are going to be taken away, that the consumption that has fulfilled me for so long will no longer fulfill me, that I will have to be in a quiet state of recreating from a place of nothing. But I would tell you that you're actually creating from a place of everything. When we strip these layers of conveniences, of imprisonment away, of wearing brands that we're enslaved to, like the branding that happens when the cattle get prodded because they're owned by something. And we're shedding those illusions. That's where we think we're free. And we're not. We're enslaved to the algorithms of marketing and agencies and comfort. And so to get to the truth of the core of what's running our nervous system, our motivation, and to find purpose and passion from something far beyond that, that's when you start setting yourself free.
I'm going to do two quotes. One's from a NASA astronaut, Story Musgrave. Getting out of the comfortable path. That's what exploration is all about. First one. Second part of this is, because it's to follow up on what you've been talking about. Here we go. An unconditional love figure, not important who it is, talked about compassion. And here's his definition of compassion. There's a trillion of those. Compassion is being kind to yourself and letting go of past failures and accomplishments in the now. Can you talk to us of what those two quotes combined are all about?
Oh my God. For me, that's about opening our true heart and just being authentic in the expression of it for ourselves, but also to everybody that we have the absolute privilege of being with, interacting with. But again, as we learn to give that to ourselves, as we learn to have compassion for ourselves, our capacity to see through another's eyes becomes exponential. We can walk in their shoes and we can hold not pity, but a platform of awareness and strength because we've navigated those places and we can meet our brothers and sisters like, hey, I can hold your hand, and why you let your wiggly wobbly feet get stronger, but I've got this and so do you, and together we'll be even stronger. But yeah, that compassion piece and the forgiveness aspect, if you will, that comes through for it, and the self-forgiveness part of it, just in seeing all of that, um, it's powerful. And I would also just would want to remind everybody that no matter what your judgment is about what has occurred in the past, what you have created in the history, what has come up, um, that you're off the hook. And what I mean by that is that everything that has led you up to today has been absolutely created in perfection. That you, as you sit today, with whatever limitations or dreams unfulfilled or wanting to get somewhere, wherever that may be, I can absolutely, with total certainty, tell you, as you take this next breath, that you're absolutely in divine perfection. And what do you choose to create from there? The more that you carry the awareness of the perfection that you be and let yourself off the hook of those judgments of who you thought you should have been, um, the quicker that you're going to experience the freedom that you've been looking for all this time.
Joe Shu. There's an expression. It was always in terms of a student running up to a Zen master, asking a question, trying to prove that he's arrived here. He's free of reacting, rejecting, resisting. I might actually do three of these. First, the student runs up and says, "What is the white ox standing in the field?" And the teacher pulls out the cane and whack on the head, which you can't do today, and says, "You dumb ox." Now, I'll give a more poignant one. The student comes running up to the teacher and is going to say, "Aha, I've graduated, dude, I'm on par." But to the teacher, "What about it when I seek to be Buddha?" The teacher says, "What a tremendous waste of energy." Well, the student's pretty quick as a whip, comes back with, "What about it when I don't waste energy?" The teacher says, "In that case, you are Buddha." But here's a
Mm.
final one before I get to the question. Um, what about it when the blind turtle, finds the plank? It was no accident, the teacher says. And that was what I think, were just talking about. I want to get tactical and practical, treetop level, talk a little nitty gritty, light, auras, the force from Star Wars. I'll do Yoda's voice in a second. I'll probably light some sage as well, just to get everybody laughing. But have you always been seeing auras on people? Did you shut it down at one point? Have you yelled, "Make it stop"? Or did you switch it into feeling it on everyone, but you didn't necessarily see it? Which way have you been rolling since young, teens, university, 20s, and today?
I think I glimpsed it when I was younger and in my teens. It wasn't something that I paid much attention to because I was very focused also on fitting in, right? And so when we focus on it, anybody who thinks that they don't have gifts, I guarantee you that you are. But we try so hard to fit other molds that we don't release ourselves to the capacity of the intelligence that is just innate within us. And that's an intelligence that runs in all of us. We just have to release some of the boxes that we've put ourselves in, even just a little bit to even glimpse. But I started, I had a profound experience again when the dam broke open. I had this amazing experience where I just started seeing lights. I had guides start coming to me in dream time, teaching me on a continuous basis. I had these places where I would have to like sit down in the middle of the day, like find a couch or a chair quickly before I pass out on the floor, and I'd pass out for 5 minutes, and I'd have past life reviews just playing through my mind. And during that time also, I started seeing light around my hands and around my body, pronounced, especially when I meditated. I can feel it pulsing. And then I'd look outside and I'd see the plants just beaming with light. Then I started seeing around people and animals, and it was an amazing trick, an amazing visual for me of a sensitivity that was awakening. And then it dimmed down. Like if I really focus and slow down, I can see it, but I'm really quick as a claircognitive to really pick it up and translate. And so seeing the auras and interpreting, it takes a little focus, and I'm called to it every once in a while. Um, I can see colors, but again, it goes through the mind so quickly for me in the way that I interpret now, that that's just not one way that I focus unless I'm called to, or I want to play with it, which is also fun.
Okay, I'm going to do a staple of the show, which is light a little bit of sage through two screens. It doesn't matter if it's the year 2032, you're in Germany, New Zealand, Tahiti watching this, you can still smell the sage. I get once in a while those compliments or comments is what I meant to say. I'll take compliments too, where they're either smelling the sage, because you can also have the opportunity to smell sage flowers in an ocean. Since you're in Kauai, Hawaii, and I always say smell Hawaii, we got to pick something different. So Tahiti, Bora Bora, not boring. That means I need a lighter, a feather, some sage, and I'm going to stall with you. If you could be one comic book hero, which we all are, we all have tons of superpowers. Yeah. And I think that's a totally fair thing to say. What's your superhero? You're not being held to this. No one's watching this. Don't worry about it. Which superhero would you pick? Male or female? It doesn't matter.
Superman.
Okay.
In the past, it used to be Spider-Man, but it's changed. It's Superman.
All right, I'm lighting some sage. This is that Juniper Ridge out of California. Just let the smoke come to you. Let the universe bring it to you. I think that's what John would recommend for pretty much everything. Get out of your way, get into your heart, let your heart do the smelling. Smelling without smelling, the Zen thing. Even if your schnoggin's broken or hasn't smelled in a while, it's not about that. This is energy that can go beyond any limits. John, are you already getting sage where you are
Oh
now?
yeah.
And then are you getting any flowers, and are you getting any Bora Bora, Tahiti, Fiji, Bali?
I'm feeling Tahiti and I'm smelling vanilla.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you for doing that. And we made it pretty quick. I don't think that was too much at all. And it's a mini miracle, a city, as they say, SIDDHI. We had one guest who got to move a dime, but it took a year of popping back in. Our brains want to block everything, even if we know better. And we're like, yeah, no, I'm on board with it. I'm jiggy with it. I want a dime to be moved by angels. But what will you allow for is the rub. I'm stalling one, snubbing out the smoker. We'll keep going all day. What will you allow for seems to be the rub. One quick other thing. I promised to do Yoda's voice. I'll do it just so we can see John laugh on this. And then John's going to give us one more example of childhood, 20s, 30s, one of those moments that was critical, pivotal, or a reminder on something. Here's this, a background, but blue sky is number one. Shut off TV's fine. If you're cocky and confident, you can just see it anywhere. This is the life force, the flow, but I'm going to do Yoda's voice. Luckily, you can't see my face, so I won't start smiling. Do not. There is no try. And then just see a little filament of light, a wisp, a stream, aura, chakras, the force from Star Wars. I don't have to do Yoda's voice again. What are you saying, John?
Oh, I'm seeing the aura around your fingers, and it's expanding actually. Um, it's yeah, it's amazing.
You want to get a little heart in there coming off of it? Ask your favorite angel to do a heart, or it could be a parakeet, a running something, a rainbow. You ask, you have to ask. I've got to breathe because I suggested something which interferes. Getting anything extra sparkles, a little flare.
Well, I asked for a hummingbird, but I'm getting a rabbit, so there you go.
And I love that. Hey, folks, I don't think I've ever said this on the show, but if you cup your hands off screen, go sit somewhere, get really groovy and like letting go. You're like, oh my God, I'm doing this on my own. It's crazy. You can ask for that in light form in your hands. Okay, I got to get serious because we're doing a show. So here's a serious quote from angels that's really gentle. And then we bought enough time because John's going to tell us one more story or two, whatever. Here it is. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it.
Nice.
What do you got for us?
Do it. Synchronistic moments. I can tell you it was really cool. I was still working corporate. I had no idea where my life was headed. Obviously, I was still in the suburbs and doing that, and I thought that was my life. But I started getting into metaphysical type of information. I wanted to start exploring. I was hanging out at Barnes and Nobles when people used to hang out there at the metaphysical section. And again, a lot of y'all have those stories as well. Um, and I was guided to watch a movie that someone had suggested to me. What the bleep do you know? A lot of y'all probably know that movie is about 15 years old. I'm just watching in fascination. It's amazing. These scientists are talking about, quantum physics, what's possible, relating energy and spirituality into science. It was amazing. And there was one expert that they had on there who's a channel, a medium, Jay-Z Knight. And the second I saw her, it's like, I looked and I go, we're going to be working together. It's like, that's weird. And I read it like she was bringing through Ramta, this intergalactic being from 36,000 years ago, sharing this wisdom. Is like, and I'd never really been exposed to channels, but it's like, we're supposed to be working together. That's so weird. A couple of weeks later, I'm at a bookstore and I pull out this cassette, this book on tape. Again, it was way back when we still had tapes, that we had the cassettes in the car. And I forget the name of the book, the ending of the something of the universe by Gary Renard, who speaks. He's an expert in the Course of Miracles. And I listened, and I was listening to the tape, and I loved he was sarcastic, kind of snarky. I loved his attitude and the way that he taught. It's amazing. And I got the same hit. It's like, we're going to be working together someday. It's like, that's weird. It's like, okay, whatever. I think Jay-Z 7 years later and Gary maybe 8 years later wound up being multiple guests on my show of Beyond the Ordinary. I'd never conceived this show. I had no idea. They brought something very unique in, but I really felt them as planting seeds for what was being created, and holding the energy of that. But the awareness of just knowing, like with absolute certainty, there was like no doubt in my mind that we're going to be working together somehow. And they've each invited me to other creations, co-creations with them that just haven't felt aligned in my timeline now. Um, that's remarkable. It was just like, it's how do we know things that we know without knowing and it not making sense and then years later it manifesting? And I just know that that type of communication, those bridges to what we would call time, are they're being collapsed, and we're really getting to see what we're have already created, even though we're still walking the path to get there.
Tell us about your show, and what are two shows you can recommend? This would be like asking Manet or Monet or Picasso to pick a painting out, although Picasso could probably do it. What is your show about? Tell us a little bit more. How many episodes have aired roughly? And then what are one or two shows that you're just always going to be like sitting on the beach one day, you're just like, oh, those were fun.
Oh my gosh. So my show, Beyond the Ordinary Show, been running that about 11 years now. I host 3 live shows a week and I interview channels and psychics. We take live calls. It's super fun, deep, poignant, and really a house for people who are really looking to not only find information that's been kept in the dark, but really to elevate it, to do something with it, not just to point fingers and go, I know this was hidden, or I couldn't speak about it, but now I can because I found community. And that's beautiful. But I really feel the community's there to take action, to really build upon something, knowing that we're being called into aspects of ourselves that we just haven't had communion with now. And so it's a beautiful show. And it's, again, interactive, and the guests they make the show. They're amazing. And it's so much fun. So Beyond the Ordinary Show, it's just, I'd listen to
Two guests we've
it.
had on that people need to be aware of that are just, for whatever reason, which two guests? We're picking out your favorite children here.
Oh no, they're all fantastic. I can't just pick two. That's
The
no,
first two
there's
that come
so
to mind without any judgment. This is such a great exercise of letting go and being in the now. First two that come to mind, if you closed your eyes, you just see their faces.
easily the first one that comes to mind is the partner that I'm co-creating this Egyptian project with, and it's a travel show that goes into other areas as well. She's a channel for Lyrian Collective, so the planet Lyra, and her channel and light language that she transmit is so pure, so amplified, so embedded with allowing people to giving people the opportunity to activate what is in the field to come into their sovereignty and that create from there in unity consciousness. Her teachings are profound. She's absolutely amazing. Her name's Jamie Price. Um, and there's another speaker that I just had on the show recently, a couple of days ago. We met officially for the first time about 6 weeks ago. She came in at a time that I knew I was going to be traveling to Mount Shasta, and I had a few months ago, but my guides kept telling me, "You're going back to Shasta." And I was just laughing at the guides that was coming in and said, "If I'm going to Shasta, someone's going to pay me to go because I'm not paying for another trip because they're always asking me to go somewhere. Like I need a break." Um, and JJ and I got on the discovery call because I wanted to invite her to the show. Or at least I thought I wanted to, but I wanted to get to know her first. And she looks at me and I look at her as like instant recognition. Um, she's like, "What are you doing for the Lions Gate?" And I was like, "It's interesting you ask because I keep hearing I'm supposed to be in Shasta, but she's well, we're leading a conference. There's about 80 people to 100 people that are going to be attending. I've been waiting for the masculine energy to come in for it. I was giving up on it. I was going to close it off today. I'm talking to you now. What's your rate?" And I had 5 other people inviting me to go. There's a group of like spiritual leaders and guides that are going to Mount Shasta. And so many are converging there right now. And I had received so many other invitations to be there. I was like, no, it's not. It's like, if I'm there, I'll see you. I'll let you know. But when this one came in, it's like, boom, yes. And so JJ she's fairly new on the scene. JJ Brighton. Um, she's anchoring in something energetically in the way that she leads and guides her community. It's just really such a beautiful example of how we're co-creating and leading in in the new world where people really get to show up in their mastery. So we're not leading from a place of weakness, looking for a leader. It's really someone that's rallying and bringing out the best in people. And she's amazing at that. So I highly recommend her work as well.
You brought up something else in all this, and there's a galactic component. I don't want to get too, one way or the other about it because it's big. It's been around forever, predating us even, or we're all a part of this big, beautiful apple pie that's heated up in the oven and we get to take a bite. But it's the cosmos. And in the spring, I mean, I've been doing this 13 years. It's gone by like that. Angels started giving their origin stories. Now, it doesn't mean they aren't an angel
Mhm.
forever, but they might have been from Andromeda, Pleiades, Orion, Lyra, whatever I'm supposed to say, but they're Lyran originally. And then galactic figures started coming in, a Pleiadian, an Arcturian. And there's people who are also have an Arcturian background here. A lot of souls coming in from elsewhere. But there's a Lyran as well, if I didn't just say that. Blah, blah, blah. So how do you handle love is love? There's all sorts of beings in the cosmos. We're not the only game in town, are we?
Oh God, no.
That was the best answer ever. So, but okay, what happens if somebody just stumbled in at this exact point and they're just sort of at the Eckhart Tolle, Don Miguel Ruiz, they're doing breath work, they're getting in touch with their own flow, and they're like, wait, what? Record scratch. Help paint the picture a little more about mankind's evolution. There's more awareness coming in, more love as possible.
Well, there are different fractals of love, and love is infinite. So it's going to express in so many different ways. And we know that it's beyond ourselves and beyond what we're experiencing. And so the journey to that expansion of love will never cease. And it fractals out into a universe that, scientists are aware that there's universes upon universes upon universes upon universes, over 3 trillion, if not more. Trillion, y'all. This is science now. This isn't just spirituality. So talk about the infinity of the cosmos. I was kind of like, okay, the people seeing the aliens, and I kind of met some reptilians in the beginning of my journey, and I recognized it, but I never gave much mind to the galactic type of community, if you will. I was more heart-based. Give me that Christed energy, that Jesus, that Mary. It's like I was very oriented in that way. But something happened about 8 years ago that I started getting these messages and these downloads. You're getting a Pleiadian activation this month. It's like, okay, and I felt the energy of the Pleiadian. The next month is you're getting a Syrian download and assimilation this month. And I couldn't deny it. And Palladian information, synchronicities, things showing up online, not just because of the algorithm, things that people were talking about that were not in my periphery before just started popping in the field. And so those synchronicities started showing up. So if you're on here for the first time, and the Lyrians came in, and the cats were showing up at my house when they never showed up all the time. It's like where are all these cats coming from? I traveled to New York and I went to the museum in New York, and we're in the Egyptian thing, and I'm there with Sekhmet, and I can feel the Lyrian energy come. It's like, this stuff is real. This stuff is real. My awareness of the way that it shows up for people that I'm in community with and that I get to guide in different ways, and how it showed up for me is that a lot of people that are really heart oriented, you get that Christed type of energy, whether it's ascended masters or guides or connecting with Gaia. The elementals are very heart oriented. And so that'll come in and it'll start building. People that are a little more linear, they're a little more mathematical, and the algorithms, very technical, they may be more inclined to come in through the mind first. And that's where the galactic typically tends to come in different ways. And there's emerging. The galactic eventually has to go into the heart and open up to that Christed energy. It's just love. And it's like really expand into beyond thought and structure into a surrender of the infinite. The heart has to open to the awareness that there's structure. There's a Metatronic field that builds these intelligences that we get to mathematically create with, that is beyond our comprehension, but is part of the structure of all reality. And they merge in different ways. So if you're on here for the first time and you heard the word Palladian or Lyran for the first time and you're judging it, judge it. It's okay. But there's something, I guarantee you, that's been seeded that perhaps will play with you in a different way in the future.
Interesting. Are you ready for a quick lightning round? I'll put up a photo of an angel, interdimensional kind of light energy form. I just grabbed a sure shot in a complete panic as if I was a college student giving it the old college try. I used to hand the camera to folks. You can just see directly. And people have seen over here. Maybe we'll do that later. We'll see. Literally. Here's Joy, Cosmic Love, the ambassador communicator to help you get a run done, get your answers, but that high vibe. And as Big Mary said, love is everywhere, but Muzzle will do synonymous with joy. Joy is everywhere. Open your eyes to find joy, find love. What are you getting from joy as a quick topic, a reminder, a mantra, or just, hey?
I'm getting Tinkerbells coming in for joy. And for me, that represents playfulness, a little of mischievousness in the playfulness as well. So that's Joy's bringing that in for me today.
Oh, too funny. And hey, we will do Tinkerbell since I had an Omega Institute staffer and her testimonial. You have to dig through 100 testimonials on the website, but hers ends with, and Tinkerbell was my very favorite. Here's a fairy, obviously Tink. She chose merriment and something, and
Wow.
assistance. There's Tink one way. And it's a little tough with 3 screens, but you can just, what is she? She's rainbow light. And,
Amazing.
yeah. What are you hearing from Tink?
Play. It's joy, fun, play, love.
Okay, and then Ginger's more like a 14-year-old. Tink is a 13-year-old. If you're having cereal in the morning and you're not awake yet, she'll be like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And you have to be like, okay, good morning. And then it'll stop. Not to put it that way. She's wonderful. Here's Ginger, a little more mature. And what are you getting from Ginger?
She's creative. She anchors in her creativity, so she knows how to have fun, but she's doing something with it.
Yeah, like I said, more productive than I didn't finish the sentence, so it doesn't count. Okay, here's Charlotte. She said in March or so, Orion for her background might have been Nefertiti in ancient Egypt. People can close their eyes and have an interdimensional experience there. That's great. But she's super like Audrey Hepburn's sister, like a teacher who's gentle with words meant to help you expand. What are you getting from Charlotte?
She's divine feminine. She's purity. Yeah, grace.
And if you want to catch Egyptian incense while I change up here, catch an incense from way, way back. I don't know how many thousands of years that is. Did you get the incense?
I don't know the name of it. It's like I know what it is, but I can't think of the name of it.
John Burgos, please compliment John. Right now, we got to do that whole public service announcement thing, but hit the like button, give him some emojis, give him 5 words to compliment. He's put himself out there, but not today on the show, but for a long time. Here's Min. I'll skip the rest of her name. The Lakota Sioux word for water, soft-spoken professor, light waves of energy in water. Actually, Mother Hawaii, according to one guest or would have been guest who has 11 books out who lived there. And the last thing about her, she said serious, not trying to be too serious about backgrounds here. She's my guardian angel, Dr. Karen Wyatt's guardian angel, August 30th of 2024. She saw her at age 10 over her or before her bed like a Hallmark angel. And from that moment on, she knew she wanted to be a medical doctor. And here she is a retired physician, you know, however many decades later, saying that's my guardian angel. And she got to meet an angel on the beach in human form for 30 minutes. Not her, but a different angel. Just Min is so fantastic. Could you get something private for you, a compliment that makes you blush? And then could you get something for us to digest? And if everyone at home's trying, don't try. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Put a hand out, feel what you can feel. Smell Hawaii coming in, except for John. Make it Bora Bora, Tahiti, Fiji, Bali. No try Yoda. I don't need to use Yoda's voice again. And now, what do you got from Min for all of us?
I got that. Whatever you're thinking that you don't know, you do already know to trust that.
That was good. Okay, Dale is got a background in Andromeda. He's super down to earth. Think of him as Greg Kinnear, the actor, but if you can't remember who he is, George Clooney's fine. One of these shirts with bigger white leaves on it, more Hawaiian even. Here's Dale. He coached an Olympic athlete since it's the time of the Olympics that we're filming, that won a lot of golds, late 70s, 80s. Everybody knows his or her name. But the point was not to beat people, but to follow their unique life path. Dale's really gentle. What do you got from Dale?
Connect to the earth. It's like embrace your feminine and connect to the earth.
You're almost done, but I still got a few more. 4 archangels in light energy form: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. You can get something private and then something you can share.
The follow your path. It's being shown to you.
This one makes hearts. Oh, and archangels are like more cosmic and broad. If light beings are like whales, dolphins are like angels, or the other way around. Archangels are really broad. So is joy. This one's more domestic on planet Earth. I always describe her as an Amazonian goddess. What you need to know is the word heather is the word heart rearranged with a few extra letters. South Africans who haven't been home in a while to their country can get the soil from her. So catch something about something from her. She makes hearts in her photos. People can go to the website and check it out. You can see, I saw her as a Portuguese ballerina taking time off from life surfing, and I'm a bodyboarder. I mean, I've surfed a little bit, but you know, no surfer will ever hang out with a bodyboarder. When I saw her in Maui, so you know she had to be an angel. Okay, I bought enough time. What are you getting from Heather?
It's, you know, ET when he ignites his heart, and that's what I was feeling, that igniting that light in our hearts.
I'm gonna do. I got 4 more for you, real fast. Dull knife, Native American chief, wisdom. Catch one of those 50 sacred Native American scents: tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, pine, desert pinon. What are you getting?
I can get a sweet tobacco from him, and he's just his wisdom. He's just wisdom.
And ask him one private question. Just say, "Got it."
Got it.
Good. And Rebecca, she comes from so far out that it hasn't even been revealed, but it's where music came from. There's actually 4 balls of light, 2 and 2. Anybody who knows my book cover, there's metallic version balls of light. That's Rebecca. Catch what you can catch. But what does she have as a reminder about music for all of us?
Huh. Well, the first thing I heard is the impossible is real. So anything is possible. There's no impossible.
Sounds like a mantra, motto, and it sounds like the subheading of whatever you might be working on down the road. Okay, last one. I pulled this up because you had said Lyran. I've got a Lyran for you, but I got to use a another type of photo, whatever I'm trying to say, historical photo before we go to Big Mary. There's a Lyran. You don't get her name. It's just Lyran. But ask a private question, get an answer, and get a nice bit of cosmic wisdom. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what can you share?
The wisdom from her is that once you realize that everything that you want is within you, you will have everything that you want.
One last
Hmm.
one. Big Mary, but instead of the painting with the heart in the center red that everybody in Ireland knows, I'm not going to take the time to pull that up. The classic one. Here's one more. She'll move. You can get more sparkles in the eye, a smile. You can get, what am I trying to say? Glitter in the air around you. That's rainbow light. You won't have to vacuum tonight or tomorrow or write a mean message saying you needed a carpet cleaner to come in, except it's probably tile marble floor. But the point is, let her do her job. It's Big Mary. If we all had her faith and trust, there'd be no more need for fear or worry. And she's love. She's everything we need. I didn't say
Hmm.
that. It was Native American chiefs who said that about her. And are you feeling this one?
Mm-hmm.
Ask her. I blanked completely, but I have it written down over my shoulder. Ask her the traffic light. You know who that was, but the voice. Ask her about the marriage ceremony and who had you sit in the office. And you don't have to share it out loud which angel or person that was, but did you get it?
Oh yeah.
Good. Okay. Anything you want to share out loud? And then we're going to have you as a professional show host. You're going to wrap us up here with a message about gentlemen. Like literally, you have it all. No limits. Good luck believing that. It's like Casablanca, the gendarme who walks in and says, I'm shocked to see there's gambling going on here. And meanwhile, the waiter's like, sir, your winnings. And he's like, oh, yeah, arrest the usual suspects, close the place down. Um, Welcome to being human. But what would you want to share out of all of that? How was it? Okay.
It was beautiful. And I have to share with Mary that was showing up last, a quote that comes in that's really profound because the time is now, y'all. It's like the time is now. And the message from her is compassion has no patience.
Hmm. But patience has compassion. I was a quick one to flip that around. Oh my
There
God.
are no buts where Mary is concerned. It's like
Oh,
she's very direct. She's fiery. Um,
I love it.
and yes, you're correct. But patience has compassion.
Okay. Oh, and I'll here, give me 10 seconds. You just earned a bonus card just because you've been deep, fun. Here's Lucy, an angel named Lucy who's all about patience. Part of
Oh, I love
any
that.
part of any business effort. It's an integral part of any venture you want to do, whether it's athletic, business, or just the
Mhm.
weekend.
Beautiful.
Okay, what is a final amount of sharing? Do you want me to buy you time? I can put my hand up in Texas. We're not going to do a rainbow whoosh. We're only going to connect. So hold on. Only my highest intent, not my bill paying, worrying side of me. Only the highest, like angels, angels, angels. That side. If you put your hand up, but only your highest intent side, not your project detailed, and it just went awry. And for 30 seconds, the human side comes out, and you're like, whoa. Are you ready? You can feel what you're going to feel. Don't judge at home. And also, angels have got a good barrier. It's only love and above, compassion coming through for decades to come. You feel the heat, feel the vibe?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good enough. But now you're on. Mic drop. I'm done. I'll do the close, but you get the close.
Mic drop. Just thank everybody for being here, for giving us the most precious gift that you can possibly get. This is your attention and time and your love and your curiosity and the wonder of how we can play together. So I bow to you and namaste. Thank you for sharing you. And until we meet again.
I love it. What's one mantra you're going to leave us with? 5 words or less, and it could fit on a t-shirt. You might have to do front and back.
Oh my God, which mantra? When in doubt, love.
Oh, good one. All right, John Burgos in Kauai, you've been absolutely fantabulous. Thank you for your patience on everything. Thank you for sharing so much. Hope to have you back again in 2025. You are later 2025. You are just absolutely wonderful. Thank you again.
Yeah, so are you. Thank you.